Hello everybody, Maryann here, revealing light, tarot, astrology and spirituality. Wherever you are in the world when you're watching this, a huge shout out to you. Thank you for all your kindness to me in my last few readings. I do read all the comments. I can't respond as much as I want to because I think there was about over 4,000 comments there on my last video. When I used to work in government, I learnt to speed read, and so that's what I'm doing now. I'm speed reading, so rest assured I am reading your comments. So thank you so much for all the kindness that you have shown me. Okay, so always say I'm going to try and keep this reading short in the interests of my recuperation from an asthma flare-up. Let's see how we go. So much has been happening, it seems, since we last spoke. There's been some beautiful, what I would call synchronicities. Some people are referring to it as poetic type moments. We see how Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, has mobilised the young people. She's now known as Brat. I don't need to explain that to you. There's several memes, wonderful, good memes going about. The former president, convicted felon Trump's denigration of her as laughing Kamala Harris has been turned upside down. With the memes being produced that show her laughing and having fun and being joyous. And I found when I looked at those short clips and videos that I was actually laughing and smiling along with her. And you know what they say about laughing? They say that it is a great healer. And I think there's a lot of relief. I know that I'm relieved, and a lot of healing going on now. One of the most powerful statements she's making is that we're not going to go backwards, and I can feel that in Australia. I think they can feel it in Canada. I think they can feel it all over the world. Not going backwards, not being dragged back to the 1960s, the terrible erosion of civil rights and liberties, and as she so often says now, freedom, erosion of our hard-won freedoms. It's an incredibly inspiring campaign that she is running. She's delivering hope to the older generation as well, who were so gutted at the loss of President Biden. Now, he addressed the nation today, and I just want to do a choice quote, give you a choice quote, because it was the point where I got upset in my last reading. And this is what the Biden says. The defense of democracy is more important than any title. Biden said, I'm quoting from Associated Press, who now gives me all of my news updates. Well, not all, but gives me a good deal of just the facts, just journalism. Okay, nothing can come in the way of saving our democracy, he said, and that includes personal ambition. Said Biden, I revere this office, but I love my country more. And that, of course, was exactly what I was picking up on when I read last week. I said, who do you know that so willingly gives up the power of such a powerful office for the good of his country? And what a contrast, and yes, you'll hear that word being used a lot, what a contrast between him, President Biden, and the aggrandizer Donald Trump. And I don't need to tell you where his ambitions lie and how much he has personally profited in a monetary sense from politics. We all know that. Okay, so beautiful synchronicities, beautiful poetic moments are happening here. I did say in another reading yesterday, it's obviously not going to be easy. And we're starting to see the kinds of racist and sexist attacks being made on Vice President Kamala Harris. And any media, who's not particularly media that should know better, I'm singling out the New York Times, and I think Maggie Haberman referred to Trump as President Trump throughout the article, but called Harris Miss Harris. Terribly disrespectful. So these attacks are coming. And even those are not landing punches in many ways, because what it's doing now is disgusting to the collective. The collective is actually having a recall moment. And we know that that she is ahead in the polls now. And well, in some polls, we know that her percentage point lead amongst key demographics, the black demographic, the young demographic, the women demographic, is so out of the former President Trump's range. We will probably call him Trump just here, because he is a convicted felon. We could even call him convicted felons Trump's range. So she's galloped away in those demographics. And so there's a lot to feel positive about. She came out hard and fast, and from a communication strategy standpoint, very, very, very good idea that she did that. And I want to now talk about her astrology just for a moment. She was born on the 20th of October 1964, so not I'm going to share with you, not so far away from where I was born either, in terms of the era that we were born into. But for her it would have been, an era where racism thrived, and she was born in Oakland, California at 9:28 p.m. When I look at her chart, and I will put her chart with the transits on November the 5th at another time when I've got more energy, but her sun is in Libra, so that is the prosecutor there. Libra is the we in the chart, as Aries is the I. And so it's not surprising that Libra, balancing the scales, always good in conflict resolution, and really has that whole theme of justice around the sign of Libra. And of course, she was a prosecutor, so no surprises there. Here's the interesting part for me. I didn't realise just how much fire she has in her chart. Now, fire, of course, is about passion, motivation, and action. And her moon is in Aries. The moon is the feelings, the emotions. And Aries, of course, rules the first house in astrology. It's about the identity and new beginnings. And so she brings, when you see her saying, "We will not go back," she's bringing that Aryan emotion right to the table in those moments. And of course, Aries is ruled by Mars, and Mars is the planet of action. So you're really seeing that perhaps you didn't really, she may have been hiding her light under a bushel for a while, but she also has Mars, which is the planet of action and drive, in Leo, in the third house of communications. So if you didn't think she could deliver a rousing speech, you really didn't know much about her. The Saturn in her chart, just deviating here for a minute, the Saturn in Aquarius is the collective. It's in the 9th house of again, law, logic, higher thinking. It is really putting, it's also, Saturn's known as Father Time. And so the fact that we're getting these synergies, these synchronicities, these poetic moments is because of the timing. It's because of the timing. And so she has been asked, and will be asked by Saturn, the great taskmaster, Father Time, to rise to the occasion. Her Mercury is in Scorpio, and we know that Scorpio is transformational. Mercury is the planet of communications. It's also associated with the 8th house of endings and beginnings. So you can start to see the themes that are coming through in her natal chart. So the interesting thing for her, from my point of view, is her Chiron. Chiron, the wound that must be healed, is in the 10th house in Pisces. So she has not stepped forward or hasn't really drawn on her abilities, on her potential, if you like. I think possibly because now 10th house is public career, because of her early experiences, particularly around self-expression. I know she's talked about segregation in the past, but all of the indicators in her chart, she was always going to, if she followed her destiny, rise to the occasion and bring all of that to the table, because we all know about wounds and we all know about healing. Now, Pisces is a very intuitive, almost it is one of the most psychic signs. It's also about the collective and creation within the collective. And so this theme of healing and hope is really coming through. And so I can't help but intuit that because this moment is so powerful, because this time is so powerful for all of us, that in a way she's destined to be the next president of the United States. Now, her just briefly on those transits. Back to her chart for a minute. She has a T-square. Yeah, a T-square in her chart. And the T-square is, of course, the classic achievement aspect. And so it's difficult and it's hard. And it's about achieving against the odds. So that's in her chart as well. As along with some really nice aspects, some sextiles and trines, and that are working in a way to bring a lot of what we've talked about together for her. Saturn in Aquarius, to me, in that 9th house of learning, is key in her chart. Now, it's key also in the transits. I don't want to go too deeply because I want to get back to the cards, but I do want to say in that in the election, November the 5th, transits against her natal chart, there's a grand cross there. It's going to be a tremendously there's some hard things that are going to be happening around that time. We know that. We know what the Republicans are already trying to do to try and sue to keep her off the ballot in swing states. We know what they did last time. There's some real things that have to be overcome. But who better than a former Attorney General in California, a prosecutor, to prosecute the case? She has a beautiful, I think, moment of fate in that transit chart against her natal. Her vertex, which is the point in the chart where fate and destiny lie, is conjunct transiting Sun. You don't get much more powerful than that in terms of a fated time, a fated moment, a point of destiny. So, we'll look at who might be her VP pick. I can't do them all, but we'll look at maybe the front runners, where I intuitively go. And then finally, we'll look at Trump's attacks on her and how that's going to pan out. So, okay, let's go back here. Apologies, I can't cover everything in astrology. I just go for what intuitively is standing out to me, and I use my intuition to choose those things. So let's have a look at where did I put it? Who her VP picks might be. Where did I put it? Here we go. Bear with me for a minute. Okay. Apparently there's about half a dozen here. Again, I'm quoting from CBS News, not one of my favourites. I'm still wanting to do a deep dive on the media. I'll come to that. What we saw, the coverage of the Republican convention when they didn't think Biden could win, a full, almost, I won't say a full throttle embrace of MAGA, but I think this was a defining moment for media, and some didn't pass the test. I don't think it matters too much now. The field is very diverse with podcasters, alternative media sites. It's really full of breadth and diversity. And of course, this is one of the reasons why corporate media's ratings are starting to tank. And they didn't help themselves with that. In some cases, an absolutely nonsensical, obvious, transparent embrace of MAGA and some of the more ridiculous things we saw at the RNC conference. Okay, so we have Josh Shapiro. I think he's one of my, I get a big draw to him. Roy Cooper, Josh is from Pennsylvania. Roy Cooper from North Carolina. He would bring an age. He's not by any means elderly, but he brings that kind of wisdom with him in a swing state. Again, Pennsylvania, swing state. Andy Bashir of Kentucky. What a fighter there to be the governor in such a red state, and defends his constituents every time I see him speak. Tim Waltz of Minnesota, really good speaker, and J.B. Pritzker of Illinois. Again, I think he's the, I hope I get this right, Hyatt heir. Okay, you'll of course tell me if I don't. Gretchen Whitmer of Michigan has already come out and said, no, I'm not leaving Michigan, so I'm not even going to read on her. She's a wonderful governor there as well. Okay, in other sites, I still see Newsom on the list there, but of course there's the obvious conflict around them both being from California. One would have to change their address, as Cheney did when he and Bush both came from Texas. He just put down his hunting lodge address of Wyoming as his official address. And of course we know what happened to Liz Cheney in Wyoming. And we saw that person there launching a terrible attack on Vice President Harris, which was pretty disgusting and really does a lot of revealing about who these people really are. All right, we shouldn't rule out Buttigieg either. And of course, Arizona Senator Mark Kelly. Kelly, I'll put on my list. At this time, I don't think Buttigieg, I think his run is later. I think his run is at the next time, the next opportunity. All right, so let's get started here. Maybe just draw 3 cards for them and see how we go. So just remember that when you hear these disgusting, offensive things, and they must be very offensive to both to African Americans and really they're racist attacks. And so when you hear these, and to women too, just don't get triggered. Just feel know that these people are unmasking themselves, okay? So look very closely at their faces when they're talking about this, and you will see straight away who and what they are. Okay, there's your tip. All right, let's go. All right, Josh Shapiro, I just want 3 cards. I don't know if I can make a prediction, but I'll just see what the card's are going to say. Shapiro was the first one I was drawn to, but I don't want to bring that bias there. I don't have an opinion either way who she, a logical opinion who she'd pick. I think they'd all be good. Okay, Josh Shapiro, is he going to be Kamala Harris's VP running mate? Josh Shapiro, is he going to be the VP running mate? Josh Shapiro, is he going to be the VP running mate? Okay, so we get the Five of Swords. I'm sorry, but there's something around the Middle East here, and I don't even know why that's come into my clairvoyance. I don't think it's got anything to do with Shapiro. The Five of Swords can be sabotage, and then we get secrets. Okay, so there's something around Middle East. Perhaps, I'm just going to deal again because I just want to say there's something around Middle East sabotage of American politics at this time. I know we've had Netanyahu in the Congress, and I'll speak about that at another time. But this is the Arabs, Saudi, probably Saudi Arabia. So are they digging up dirt on potential running mates? And are they now interfering in the US election? Of course, we know how close they were and are to Trump and Musk. By the way, Musk says he's no longer funding. I'll get to that in a minute. Okay, so funding the convicted felons campaign. All right, Josh Shapiro. I don't know why they put that in there, but it's to do with how I do know. It's to do with they want to see Trump get rid of the electric car. It's funny I said Musk as well, the electric car, the whole electric car stuff, because that then interferes with their fossil fuel business. Okay, that's why that's there. So I don't know if that's going to come out soon, but we'll see. That just came in to the frame then. Josh Shapiro. All right, Josh Shapiro from Pennsylvania. Are you going to be Trump's... let me start again. Josh Shapiro, are you going to be the VP's running mate, Kamala Harris's running mate? Josh Shapiro, are you going to be Kamala Harris's running mate? Josh Shapiro. Right, so we get here the, looks like the King of Wands here. And we get the Queen of Cups. This is good. And the Star of Hope. Yeah, I knew. Yeah, it's looking really good for him. And we get the Devil here in the World. And, of course, this is really about the underlying energies that are here. I don't know. There's Biden turning up. What did he say in defense of Biden? I think he was very supportive of Biden. And then we get, I said 3 cards, but standing his ground and defending himself. Yeah, they're going to personally attack these people. Nefarious energies are very much here. He's looking good with that Star of Hope. And then we get the 8 of Swords. So there's more than 3 cards. So there's a lot riding on this VP pick. The 3 cards that I drew show that he's very much a front runner, particularly with that Star of Hope card. All right, let's have a look at Kelly. He was another one I was drawn to. He brings a lot of poignancy with him as a former astronaut, shuttle astronaut, and he's the wife of a former representative of the House who was shot in the face. And he's the senator from Arizona, so another state in play. I'm not sure they want to take from their senators, but anyway, let's have a look. Mark Kelly. All right, so restriction. Let's do that again. Okay. All right, let's give it another shuffle. Mark Kelly, are you in contention as a VP running mate for Kamala Harris? Are you in contention, Mark Kelly, as a VP running mate? So we get here the King of Wands, but we also get they've got to kind of draw the line somewhere. I'm not seeing that they want to take him away. No, I don't think they want to take him away from the Senate. You know what? Biden's having a nice lot of impact on this as well. he's bringing his political acumen to the table for her, for Vice President Harris here. So we get Shapiro looking good. No, I don't think they want to take Kelly away from the Senate. Okay, let's have a look at Cooper from North Carolina. Governor Cooper, it's his last term. Are you going to be Kamala Harris's VP running mate? Cooper from North Carolina. It's a state in play as well. They're weighing him up, and we get the Emperor card here, and then we get Crossroads and the Ace of Pentacles. So he's very much still in contention. It looks like he would bring some, I don't know, there's something around fundraising, but there's also the moon volatility here. So I'm going to say that I see Shapiro very strongly at this time, but I think someone's digging around in his past. Let's have a look at Bashir. Not that he has any skeletons there, but they're just going to throw mud wherever they can. He's looking good as a pick here. Andy Bashir from Kentucky. Are you going to be Kamala Harris's VP running mate? Nice. Women. And the Ace of Swords. Okay, so Shapiro and Bashir are in play. But then we get the Hanged Man and the Sun card. Okay, so Sacrifice and the Sun. And there's the Star card. So Shapiro and Bashir are in the running here. They're still deciding about Cooper. All right, Pritzker. Did I get that pronunciation right? Let's have a look. Governor Pritzker, are you in the running? For... are you going to be? Governor Pritzker, are you going to be Kamala Harris's VP running mate? Pritzker. Yeah. Okay, so it's not his... How do I say this? Okay, so not as good cards as you can see as Shapiro and Bashir. Okay, and we're just going to do Waltz. Tim Waltz. Governor Waltz, are you going to be Vice President Kamala Harris's running mate? Magician, Empress, little bit of anxiety here, and yeah, he's still in the running with the. He's really working hard. He'd like that. Families, you know, he brings that sort of elder experience to the table. I'm not going to rule him out, but so far I think it's between Shapiro and Bashir to a lesser extent. Shapiro. All right, is there an outlier that I'm not considering? Let's see, Pete Buttigieg. Are you going to be Vice President Kamala Harris's running mate? Buttigieg, currently the Transport Secretary. Are you going to be Harris's running mate? Ooh. And yeah, wow. Gosh, he's a good candidate. He would particularly bring young people with him. He's such an eloquent speaker. I'm not ruling him out either. But we've got the donors here, and we've got the Five of Cups. So I won't rule him out, but I see Shapiro and Bashir they're in with a good chance. And because I read on Newsom before, which I think in hindsight, there are plenty of articles now around where we see Pelosi did not, and Obama, well, more so Pelosi, did not come out and endorse Harris until she thought that, well, until it was clear Harris had the nomination. And I'm pretty sure that when I was reading on that, did she want Newsom, Harris, Newsom, even though they were in the same state. My supplementary question now, in hindsight, should have been, does she want Newsom? Because I think she did. Okay, so she wanted it contested. But that's not the way it worked out. Some media are still putting him in the mix. Let's see. Newsom, Governor Newsom, are you going to be Kamala Harris's running mate? You'd have to move. You'd both be from the same state, yada, yada. I know all that. Newsom and Harris. Okay, Harris and Newsom. Gavin Newsom, are you going to be Kamala Harris's VP running mate? The Chariot here. Interesting. Chariot. Knight of Swords. And the King of Wands. The Apprentice card. But we've got strategy and planning, the King, and then the Ace. Look, he does get good cards. I'm not going to say he doesn't, but I'll defer to my viewers and say, okay, you're telling me that he won't be, but I'm telling you he's got good cards. Okay, so he's still in the mix. If I I'd have to say Shapiro is where I come out, but you've heard the readings, and so make of them as you will. All right, we want to get on now. Trump's attacks. They've put a complaint into the FEC. That's unlikely to be successful. That Biden's campaign funds should be not go to Harris, even though she was on the ticket, and that they're talking about they should be compensated for all the money they spent on the Biden, fighting the Biden campaign. So I don't think that's going anywhere. They're also mulling over a court case to prevent Harris and her VP being on the ticket in swing states. That's not going to be successful. Mark Elias, Democratic lawyer, says 0.00 chance. So will the Republicans be successful in any of their legal or other action against Harris? King of Pentacles, there he is. An isolation, review, and there's the Five of Cups. No. Now, I read on Trump yesterday, there's the courts. So, no, they're not going to be successful. It's just a ploy, really. I read on him yesterday. Was it yesterday in another forum? He got the Death card again. He got the Tower card, and he got the Ten of Swords in his outcome. Don't you think for one moment that there are not only thoughts about questioning whether or not J.D. Vance should have been the VP pick, and that's going all the way to Russia. But there are also thoughts within the Republican Party itself about whether Trump, an aging and increasingly ineffective Trump, should be the candidate. Now, I've always had seen issues with his health, and some of them I predicted actual timing around his trial. I said you'll see his health problems. He was asleep in the RNC. Now the focus turns on to his health. His health is not good, and so we've learnt anything can and will happen. I'm not saying he's not going to make it to the election. I'm just saying there could be health issues for him, and of course we haven't heard the end of the Epstein connections either. So long way to go. A long way to go. All right, I'll be back again later. Bye for now.